Hello and welcome back to I Love PT Fitness Hangouts. I hope you've had a good new year. I have had a wonderful new year. It's been great so far, so good. Apologies for the delay in getting back to you. A few things on my horizon, but they're all good. So yeah, let's get the ball rolling. I know this isn't the scheduled time. Everything is good. We'll change those times to make something that allows the whole world to enjoy. Lots of requests to change the time during the day, just trying to figure that out. But I'm going to make up for all these sessions right now. So just check myself in the camera and now I'm all yours. Now, today's thing is all about how to get into the best shape of your life for 2016. So if we cut through the hype, we get past all the crap in the men's magazines, women's magazines, on TV, what you get sold by all these big gyms. I won't mention any of them, but something you should be aware of is that they're all pretty much just trying to sell you some kind of genetic way of getting into shape under the illusion that doing something is better than nothing. Well, this isn't going to really take you very far. No, what we want to do here today is really look at why and how you're going to make yourself the best that you've ever been in 2016. Every day is a new chance to get back into get into something that's really different for you, and to make sure that whatever it is you do is right, not only for you, but has legs, that it will continue to work for you. So if you're thinking about just overloading your system, after overloading the system with all this overindulgences after Christmas and New Year's and whatever you have, well, basically, this is a short-term plan and it's called a tactic. A tactic will fail eventually. We use tactics, but what we're really looking to embed here for fitness is a strategy that you can extrapolate and modify over the rest of your life. And this consists mainly of habits, good habits, things that you allow yourself to do. Now, if you get this pattern right, and believe me, there's no hard and fast way of doing this. It involves a lot of experimentation and a lot of right and wrong, joining up the dots. This is something we really have to look at and consider when we're doing this to get it right. It's about joining up the dots. Now, the good news is the dot that we start on is always the easiest one, because it's where we start from. Now, as a beginner, I always say this to people, you have so much more going for you than you do as somebody who's been training for a long time, because as an athlete, they have a really specific way they want to train, and it's very hard to sustain that exacting amount of pressure that they need for their optimal performance. But as a beginner, you've got so many options and you'll see so much change in such a short period of time that it's really much more like springtime for fitness, and a fascinating way of watching how your body will change with everything that you do. Now, it's hard to see on the day, but if you give yourself a minimum of 7 days, the best shape you'll get into starts with a small victory. One small victory leads to another small victory, and then we build and we build and we build. And before you know it, you'll have all of these fundamentals in place to be able to keep your body fit and healthy for a longer term. And why is this? This is because what we have to do to begin with, anything that we really are serious about, relationships, work, actual physical building, we have to lay a foundation. Now, when you're building a house, what happens is they do something called slab stage. You've got the land, they've dug out the foundations, and they pour in the slab. Now, this is the most important part and tends to take a longer time, because what they're doing is putting in all the right channels and conduits and pipes and everything that will be needed once the walls start to go up. Now, if you're driving past the house and you're saying, why aren't the walls going up? Why isn't the roof on? Why aren't the windows in? Well, these are things you add as you go. The most important part of your fitness program has to be slab stage. Now, slab stage involves putting in the right amount of concrete and putting it in nice and level, making sure all the tubes that you're going to need for your drainage and your toilet go in there. So this is akin to what we'd think about, what are your pathologies? What is wrong with your body? What is it you need to do? And how do we fix that? Once we identify those few things, then we really have a good foundation to work on. So we have to be realistic. The second part of just understanding that is saying to yourself, I have to be honest with myself. You don't have to go onto detox. Detox is just something that's been bandied around, and it's again another very, very successful marketing ploy to be able to do those things and market it and sell it and say something to write about in magazines. Detox is just a little bit too much. if you're not eating well, if you've begun to lean on foods that are convenient and you're sustaining yourself through these grey foods with actually no matter that's going to give you any sustenance or derive any real benefits, you're going to find that they are in themselves going to be a source of ill health. So what we have to think about is how everything fits together. So slab stage, once we start putting the walls up and the floors, the second floor goes in and the roof goes on, we are able to build and then go out and start working on a garden, a pool, you know, all those things that go around the outside of your basic structure. So the basic structure starts with measurement. Now, measuring yourself is very important. If you don't know what your statistics are to begin with, and you don't get an assessment as to where your pathologies are, where your weaknesses are, you will not be able to improve. Part of being a human is joining up the dots. It's about making progress. We have that built into us. We don't like just to sit still and do nothing. What we like to do is make progress. So the first thing we have to do, and if it means getting a trainer to do so, or if it means going to a doctor, then do that. But you can actually go and get an assessment of your health. Once you have an assessment of your health, your body composition, you can see what your bloods are. You can do urine tests. You can get everything done. You can get your posture checked. All these things add up and they give you specific goals, which make it very important that you bear those in mind when choosing your exercises. Now, every exercise that you do comes at the expense of another exercise. So if I do give a client push-ups to do, it means I've given that preference and priority over something else to do. So therefore, it's important that I understand, not only is it that I measure what it is I need to correct, but I also then assign the right exercises for you. And that can be very simple. We're going from dot 1 to dot 2. It doesn't have to be complicated. And this is another thing that happens once we get into exercise. People get these magazines and they read Spider-Man push-up or something crap like that. And you say, well, yeah, it's variety. It's great. It looks different. It makes people stop and go, wow, that's talented, you know. But until you've got to a point where you've corrected all the things and addressed the issues that need to be addressed, basic is good. So losing weight, for example, is probably going to be 8 out of 10 clients want to lose weight. And the reason that they've put on the weight, well, there's so many different reasons. It could be for just overeating, overindulgence, a faulty pattern somewhere, or some kind of agreement they've made regarding food or drink and hydration, which needs to be addressed. With new clients, I always put up a mirror and I say, now you tell me what your goals are. And they tell me what they want to do. They say they want to lose weight. They want to feel better, have more energy. And to be honest with you, any trainer who's honest is going to tell you that you already know how to do this. And you have to understand that I am the only one who's going to be able to lead you to water. But once we get there, the hard work has to be yours. In the same vein, when they actually do achieve their results, you have to stand back and they say, well, I couldn't have done it without you. Well, to be honest with you again, I've been paid to show you how to get to this because you asked me, as maybe a consultant would do, to tell you something that was eluding you. Now you know. Now you can do it on your own. Now when you've mastered dot 1 to 2, then you go on from dot 2 to 3. And that's the way we start doing it. Now, as humans, we also have this impatience about us that if there's 5 dots to join up, we'll want to go from dot 1 all the way over to dot 5 without really thinking about what is it I'm missing out here along the way. Well, the point here is, if you go from dot 1 to dot 5 because you want to do it all in one big slam, basically what you'll find out is that you will fail and everything will fall down around you, basically. Now, a little bit of Star Wars here, and he says, if you take the quick and easy path, this is something that is very Yoda-esque. By going through the process, there's that saying you have to know to know. Now, if I didn't go through dots 2, 3, and 4 and just jumped over those to get to number 5, I missed out part of a process which is later going to be so important in my understanding of what it's taken for me to earn that merit, that achievement that I've got through. Sometimes when we got clients who are really, really desperate, I'll give them something which is called Hell Week, because we want to put a sense of accomplishment in place. So every day, for the first 7 days, they have something very specific to do that relates to their goals. And they get to the end of that period where it's been very trying for them, where their willpower will stay on course. Once they get to that 7th day and they can see maybe a little bit more stretch in their pants, they're feeling a little bit more energetic, what it does for them, it gives them an enormous lift and they think they've actually accomplished something. So by going through this hell week of every day, the diet, the hydration, the exercise, simple enough, but making sure they're consistent and thorough throughout, they start to see that all it takes to get where they really need to, which is point 5, is follow the plan. Lots of people are very enthusiastic, and also they will have a lot of distractions in their life, work, family, whatever it is that might take away from what your objectives are. So when we really try and put this into a context also, measurement is important, but then understanding, having support and making it clear what your priorities are and clearing time in your schedule to be able to make that a realistic goal, then you have something that's going to start to stick. And when you're honest with yourself, then what you're putting into your body for weight loss clients, basically, anything, even if it's for a weight gain client or somebody who wants to build muscles or has a specific goal, well, the truth is you don't get better at swimming by running. You have to allocate a lot of time to swimming to be a better swimmer. You might want to vary your training, which is fine and very common practice, but you also have to take into account that that is the best way for you to become a swimmer, is to swim more. And for you to lose weight, you have to realize maybe that beer, those cigarettes, that cake, the chocolate, whatever it is, the takeout food that you're having periodically is just adding to a surplus of trapped energy or previously metabolized energy, which is also called fat. So once you understand that you have to be consistent, you have to measure, you have to be patient, you're going to be able to start to see the changes that you want. Now, going back to the part of saying getting the support, most people I deal with, if they're in a family environment or they have a work environment, there's a couple of things that I tell them to do. If they're single people with no partners, I tell them, do not tell your workmates what your goal is as much as you want to talk about it. They will laden you with this enormous guilt and load you up with the pretense, I don't know if that's the word, they load you up with the thing, because they won't want to make the same effort that you will necessarily. I'm not saying they won't, but then they will look out for opportunities to help you fail, to come back to the fold where everybody is lazy and doesn't give a fuck about what they're doing. So what we want to do there is you must bury that goal inside of yourself and just hold tight until you feel that you've accomplished something. So get a couple of weeks under your belt and think to yourself, now I've really got into a little bit of a routine, I can feel a different groove, and give the chemistry in your body, your brain starts to change, a chance to actually show you that if you're consistent with this, it will become something that you can manage, project manage, you can tweak it, you can change it, you can adapt it according to how you live your life. So that's the one thing I say to single people, keep that under your belt. Don't share it with people at work. Don't tell others, because there could be that chance that they want to see you fail because their inertia will overcome you and they just want you to not give a shit and be like them. Now, if you have a family, basically what happens is it's important that you share it with them and you say to them, well, these are my goals and I feel this way. And it's important that I talk from my heart and tell you what this means for me. Once you do that and you ask them to either come along with you or to do it with you, then you find your chances of success are actually through the roof. If everybody's eating the same way at home and they understand what it takes for you to do the same thing, your chances of survival and success are going to be much, much higher. And this is really important when we think about how you're going to make all that effort and maybe money that you're putting into it really add up to something for a change. Because after a while, you know, everybody's eating pizza, drinking beer, rubbing it in your face that you're on a diet or whatever it is. And that makes life a lot harder. Once they express themselves and you can get that balance with them, they'll understand, choose if they want to come along with you on that journey, but it has to be your journey fitting into whatever might be the outside influences which could affect how you will succeed. So once you've established all these ground rules and you've been able to stick with that for a little while and you start feeling, okay, I've been focusing much more on not eating one or two of those things a week. Now, if you make that sacrifice, nobody's asking you to give up everything. I mean, that's just extreme cold turkey, and you can do that if you really want to. But at the end of the day, that can backfire. So if you've been on these sugars for so long, trying to go without is like trying to go without alcohol or smoking or whichever it is. It's another indulgence that you've used as a crutch for so long that your body has begun to rely on that. And usually that can have some kind of psychological or emotional impact on how you live your life. And what we want to make sure of here is that you are able to wean yourself off, knowing that there's something much greater for you, that you're capable of doing it. That it might be difficult. I struggle with getting myself away from simple sugars. Sometimes if I've allowed myself to be able to let them creep back into my life. But over time, what I've managed to do is to say it's perfectly normal for me to have these things in my life intermittently, so long as I don't let them control me. So being reasonable with yourself is also a very important part of how you'll find a balance. Now, saying all this, not beating yourself up, and being fair to yourself and recognizing that if this is your goal and you're happy to take multiple stabs at it, some people will be fantastically good and drop it because they're so frustrated and have so much anger about how they feel that they just are ready to do it. And that kind of drives them even further. Some people, it takes them a while to be able to get that right. And it might take a few run-ups to get the actual result that you want. That's perfectly fine. In the meantime, if you're saying one thing and lying to yourself or deceiving yourself, those are the things that really make popular gyms more successful, because they keep on milking that. They know you're going to fail. They know that, but they also add this kind of comfort, oh, never mind, come to mummy kind of feel, which really doesn't serve you. You've got to be strong with yourself, and you've got to say, okay, this wasn't good. I know I overate that. Now I've got to try and fit in this element of control so it doesn't happen again, and then work towards correcting the things that you've done. The same way you'd have like a toxic spill or an oil slick, you have to contain it. Once you've contained it, you can start to clean it up again. It doesn't take away from the catastrophe it might have caused, but at least you're honest enough just not to leave it there. And do another one, and another one. And then before you know it, there's no sea, there's only oil. And that is then when people become so despondent, they just literally say, oh, fuck this, you know, I'm not going to do it anymore, which is why it's hard for people to find ongoing motivation. But once you get a small victory, it's literally another victory and another victory and another victory. And before you know it, you look back over your shoulder and you realize, I'm starting to feel good. I'm starting to see the changes that I was looking for all along. So measurement, being honest with yourself, changing what you can on your own, being aware of what you're eating, telling your family and getting the right support. Also, look for motivation in yourself. Ask yourself, what is your purpose? Why are you here? Why are you doing this? What does it matter to you why you're doing it? And try and live that to yourself. If you can do that, you find a meaning. I mean, I don't have religion or God. It's not, I'm saying one way or another what that means. It's just, this means something to me. It gives me value. It's my medication. It's my meditation. It's my earthing. It gives me something to say, I have a kid and I want to be here till I'm 100 years old to be able to enjoy that. So this is my daily sacrifice. I could easily just sit there and do nothing, let all the blood congeal in my legs and let things just overwhelm me. But I know fundamentally that sooner or later that will catch up with me. And it might take 40, 50 years and some kind of cruel and twisted jokes for that to creep up on the horizon, just tap me on the shoulder and say, hey, remember all that time you didn't exercise? So these are the things that motivate me, because I've been through it so many times. I can see firsthand, and I can see in clients how it works. So honesty with yourself, most important. But just because you failed doesn't mean you have to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Not at all. Go again. Keep on going. Think about it. Seek support if you get lost. You have a lawyer if you have legal problems. You have an accountant if you have to do your accounts. You know, you have doctors who do this. Why not seek help from a nutritionist or a physiologist or a personal trainer who's able to identify what your specific goals are? And don't accept under any circumstances this one-size-fits-all God-stopper, multi-flavored thing that most gyms will offer you. Question everything and make sure that you're satisfied that there's a logical, scientific basis that's particular to you in every single exercise that you do. And make sure that they are satisfying the basics. Once that's done, then you can understand better why it is you have to do it. And that's got more chance of sticking, becoming a good habit and eliminating the bad ones than things that are just given to you randomly. So unfortunately, some of these 45-minute sessions, they're not particular to anybody. They're just wasting energy. And it has a very linear drop-off where you get to a point it's just going to drop off, where you really just say, I just can't be fucked with it anymore. And you drop off because there's nothing. Whereas this approach is a much better kind of gradual approach that you can modify and take into account the things that happen along the way. And that means changing your lifestyle, understanding that it's going to take time and that you might fail along the way. So this isn't about some magazine of health for men that's going to give you some six-pack of abs that's going to make you look like the best on the beach. Frankly, I'm not fucking interested in that. What I'm interested in is introducing brand new habits that are going to serve you and keep you pain-free and medication-free for the rest of your life. And when things start to look a little bit scary or if something goes wrong, that you understand your body enough to modify it, to be able to change what it is you do with your body and correct it before it becomes an issue. Understanding how you feed yourself is what your body will be like. How you hydrate yourself will be how your body is. It's all got to be logical, relative, scientific. And if it's those three things, you're on a good line. Now, the first thing you have to do, go away and measure yourself. And once you've measured yourself, if you want some help in setting goals, then give us a call or email me. I'll put my email at the bottom here, and you can just give me a call and we'll start from there. It's most important that you do that. So in the meantime, that's all for this little session. I'm sure you're going to find there's a lot of questions that you have. I'm not giving you specific workouts. I wouldn't give you a generic workout to do right now, although there's some things that everybody should be doing when they're starting off. But if you want a specific workout for you, give me a call. We'll arrange a hangout. We'll go through every last detail that you have, and it'll be very particular to how you want to do things. And I'm ready to roll. So this is it. The best shape in 2016 comes down to the way you approach it, how realistic and how open you are and willing to adapt and change your body in a more scientific and beneficial way. That's how you're going to get there. And while you're doing that, your chances of success are way through the truth. Now, I don't think I've got any viewers because this is an unscheduled time. No, nobody loves me again. Okay, so I'm going to go, and in a few moments, I will be back because, yeah, that's the way it is, right? Okay. I'll be back with the next topic that I should have done a few days ago, but didn't. Okay. All right, then. See you now. Bye.